Rami, look, even if we change it to a asynchronous component, it's still not gonna work. Are you not seeing that, dude? Listen, all your suggestions are stupid and you're standing there like an idiot and you're breaking the website and we can't figure it out. Do you have anything to say for yourself?
No, 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 no.
Hey Lilith, guess what? I'm so hungry that I could eat a cat.
Hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to share a heartwarming story with you titled, Two Tiny Explorers and the Magic Wand. If you enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Of course, if it's not your style, feel free to skip it, no hard feelings. Now, let's begin the story. The day I brought home two tiny kittens was a day filled with squeaks, little paw prints, and an unusual amount of cautious sniffing. These two little fluff balls had just left the comfort of their old home, and everything in my apartment seemed like a foreign land to them. The living room, which I thought was cozy and familiar, was suddenly transformed into a giant jungle of mysteries. The couch became a towering mountain, the carpet turned into a soft meadow, and the space under the table was an obvious cave for brave adventurers. At first, the kittens huddled close together, their tails wrapped tight around their bodies. They blinked at me with wide, questioning eyes, as if silently asking, "Who are you? And why is your nose not as cute as ours?" I tried speaking softly, telling them they were safe and loved, but apparently, my human words didn't sound as convincing as the beating of my heart. They tilted their heads in unison, clearly unimpressed. For a few minutes, it was just me watching them and them watching me, like two curious detectives interrogating a suspicious character. I could almost hear their little brains buzzing. Should we trust this tall creature who brought us here? Or should we keep glaring until they give us treats? Realizing that staring contests wouldn't get us very far, I decided it was time to bring out the secret weapon of every new cat parent, the magic wand, also known as the cat teaser toy. It wasn't just any toy. It was a stick with a long string and a feather at the end. To humans, it looked simple enough, but to kittens, it was practically a flying dragon with glittering wings. The moment I wiggled the feather, their ears perked up. Both kittens froze, their eyes locked on the mysterious moving object. I barely flicked my wrist, and suddenly, their bodies went from statues of suspicion to predators on a mission. One of them crouched low, his tiny tail twitching like a coiled spring ready to launch. The other tried to imitate, but ended up rolling sideways into the carpet, legs flailing in the air. I burst out laughing, which made them pause, then look at me as if to say, "We meant to do that." Determined to prove themselves, they regrouped. This time, when the feather swooped across the floor, both kittens pounced at once. Of course, they missed, and instead collided headfirst with each other. What followed was 5 seconds of kitten wrestling before they remembered the feather was still flying around. The chase went on and on, under the table, behind the couch, and across the rug. One kitten slid so dramatically on the floor that I thought I'd accidentally adopted a professional ice skater. The other attempted a heroic leap onto the sofa, only to cling halfway before slowly sliding back down, leaving nothing but dignity in tatters. Still, they were relentless. Every swipe, every jump, every tumble brought out their determination to catch the feather. And for me, every failed attempt was pure comedy gold. By the time I dangled the toy above their heads, Both kittens were panting, their pink tongues sticking out, but their eyes burned with the fierce passion of hunters who refused to give up. Finally, after what must have felt like an epic battle in their tiny world, one kitten managed to grab the feather between his paws. His expression lit up like he had just defeated the boss monster of an RPG. He looked so proud, chest puffed out, ears perked high, that I almost applauded. His sibling immediately tried to snatch the feather from him, and the two ended up in a tug-of-war that made the toy squeak under the pressure. I let them play it out, watching as their little rivalry turned into synchronized wrestling moves that would impress even professional fighters. Eventually, the kittens collapsed together on the carpet, rolling onto their backs with their bellies exposed. Their tiny chests rose and fell as they caught their breath. The feather lay abandoned between them, no longer a dragon to conquer, but a trophy of their bravery. I sat on the floor beside them, gently scratching their chins. This time, they didn't flinch or stare at me with suspicion. Instead, they leaned into my touch, purring softly like miniature engines warming up. In that quiet moment, surrounded by the sound of their purrs, I realized how quickly the ice had melted. Just an hour earlier, we were strangers staring at each other. Now, we were teammates, bonded by a simple game of chase. My living room no longer felt like an alien jungle to them. It was now their playground, their battlefield, their new safe haven. As the kittens drifted off into a nap right there on the carpet, I couldn't help but smile. They had won more than just the feather, they had also won my heart. And while I knew raising them would bring plenty of chaos, scratches, and fur all over my clothes, I was equally sure that every moment would be worth it. After all, life with cats isn't about perfection. It's about laughter at their clumsy jumps, pride in their tiny victories, and the warm joy of having two little souls trust you enough to fall asleep by your side. Bringing home two playful kittens and watching them explore with curiosity, clumsiness, and determination is a gentle reminder of how we, too, face new environments and challenges in life. At first, like the kittens, we may feel awkward or even hesitant, unsure of who to trust or how to act. Yet, with time, patience, and a little encouragement, symbolized here by the feather toy, we find ourselves adapting, growing, and even enjoying the journey. The kitten's persistence in chasing the feather despite repeated failures shows us the value of resilience and humor. In modern life, where stress, pressure, and self-doubt often overwhelm us, it is important to remember that mistakes are not the end of the story but part of the process. We can learn to laugh at our stumbles, just as the kittens kept running after slipping or missing their target. Building bonds, whether with pets, friends, or colleagues, also takes time and shared experiences, often starting with small gestures of kindness. The lesson is clear. Embrace change with curiosity, tackle challenges with determination, and don't be afraid to look a little silly along the way. In doing so, we create a life that feels not just manageable, but joyfully meaningful.